Now, it's incredible to think that 40 years ago, a local authority placed an advert in a Ugandan newspaper warning Asians not to move to Leicester. It said local services were already stretched.
Well, this happened at a time when Asians in Uganda were being forced to leave the country by the dictator Idi Amin. But they defied the warnings from the council, and as Rajiv Popat reports, they arrived penniless and overcame intense hostility to make their mark in Britain.
For Asians who moved to Uganda from the Indian subcontinent, life was perfect. But their perfect lifestyle came to an abrupt end when President Idi Amin ordered them to leave the country within 90 days. This was their home, a place they loved and somewhere they thought they would spend the rest of their lives. Some arrived in the UK penniless, others with just a few pounds in their pockets. There was a feeling of disbelief. One minute they were walking along these streets, the next they were running away, in some cases running for their lives. At the time of the expulsion, Faisal Hussein Kapasi, who now lives in Birmingham, was helping others who couldn't afford to buy tickets, passports and warm clothing. But Idi Amin was given false information that he was raising funds to overthrow the government. His life was in danger. Within 2 days, he fled the country.
I was born there. My father spent his youth and his old age in there. We had a few businesses around, some properties, and all we could leave with was £55 and 4 children. So it was a nightmare, but then that's life.
They arrived in the UK armed with whatever they were able to bring. As a 12-year-old, Ranju Moda from Leicester remembers being taken to an ex-army camp in Brighton.
It was like a big hall. There were other families together. We all slept in one big hall. There were single beds, and we all slept on there. In the morning, we had to queue up for breakfast, like we do it in a military. We were given trays in our hands, and we had to sort of queue up to get our breakfast.
Leicester became home to more than 10,000 new arrivals. For Rajesh Putney, the cold weather and unfamiliar surroundings were a shock to the system.
People look different to you. It's like in Kampala, as far as I know, I could never remember seeing an English person. Here, all of a sudden, you look everywhere, there were English people, and you think to yourself, who are these people? Probably thinking the same, who's he as well? And I remember the first day when I went to school, I was really frightened. All I could remember, there was so many English children there, only a few Asian lads, and I couldn't even speak English.
Leicester today is an ethnically diverse city praised for its multicultural relations. A huge contrast to the mass immigration of the early 70s. The city council even placed an advert in a local Ugandan newspaper urging people not to come because it couldn't cope with them.
We are not able to help them at all, of course, as local authority. Obviously, they are finding their own accommodation somewhere, probably causing overcrowding, but this is entirely up to them. We have nothing at all that we can offer to them.
There's too many people coming to Leicester. I mean, we're having them come all the time, every day. And I think it's causing a bit of ill feeling.
Not until...
You don't like them?
No.
Why is that?
Don't seem to get on with them. Have enough of the coloured ones as it is.
It is astonishing to think that the then leadership of the council thought that somehow this was going to be a threat to the city, because what it was a tremendous opportunity for the city. And you know, so people have sometimes said to me, well, why don't you say sorry for the advert? Well, I thought it was stupid at the time, and actually, rather than saying sorry, I think what we should be saying is thank you.
But they came, they set up businesses, their children studied hard and had high-flying jobs.
It wasn't in our blood to ask the government, give us something. It was like, what can we do to make something of ourselves?
This particular area in Belgrave, the Golden Mile as it's known, was due to be bulldozed down half of it. Fortunately, the Ugandan Asians came, and this area is now thriving with business. Ugandan, East African origins. Yeah, try a couple of bits of that.
Tomorrow I'll meet the businessmen who returned to Uganda to reclaim their properties and to start a new life in the country they fled. Rajiv Poppet, Kampala for Central Tonight.
It's amazing, isn't it, to see the attitudes in the 70s there towards the migration.
Yeah.
How things have changed. Leicester, one of the most multicultural cities now in the entire country. Well, the international and